Story begins when we see a man named Tamaki is being stabbed repeatedly. The girl stabbing him sounds like a psychopath as she calls out his name. Her knife begins to glow, and Tamaki loses his life soon after. Tamaki is shocked to see that he is somehow still alive as he wakes up to find some kind of green monster talking to him. It gives him the name Gabaro and force feeds him some giant disgusting bug. Gabaro is still too tired to do anything, so he falls back asleep. When he wakes up the next day, he is surrounded by what he calls a bunch of ugly green babies. He then realizes that he is one of them. This leads him to conclude that he had died, and he was then reborn as a helpless little goblin. 3 days later, Gabu determines that goblins mature much faster than humans as he has grown a lot. Gabu becomes excited when he sees that he has a voice again, and he is very agile. He decides not to overthink things, and he just becomes grateful to have a second chance at life. Gabu allows himself to survive the best he can with his new life, and he makes it to day 4. The man that's been feeding them informs all the newborn goblins that they will have to get their own food after this last meal. They all feast on the bugs, and Ro is the first of them to venture outside. Just like before, this world has one sun and a blue sky, but it has some pretty ugly birds. A ton of plants he has never seen before make it clear that Gabu is in a new world. The goblins are able to speak, so Gabu teams up with Gabkichi. Gabkichi is the biggest of the goblin kids, and Gabu teamed up with him specifically because he will be most useful when helping him hunt. The two of them work together as Gabkichi chases a unicorn bunny, and Gabu finishes it off. Gabkichi tries to eat without Gabaro, so Gabu beats him and makes sure that he knows that they're supposed to share. After demonstrating the nature of their relationship to Gabkichi, Gabu tries to see if he can use the rabbit's horn as a weapon. Just then, he gets a strange vision that says Gabu obtained the small creature's horn. Gabo has no clue what that was, but he moves on as Gabkichi is starving. Gabkichi is overwhelmed with emotion as he eats. He cries and thanks Gabu for helping him get food. Gabu would just like for him to eat or cry, but not both. On the 5th day, the two hunt a rabbit again, but this time Gabu uses the horn as a weapon and determines that it's very useful. Gabu removes another horn, and he once again sees the vision. He ignores it so they can eat, but he then has another vision. This time Gabu hears a voice, and it tells him that he learned the ability called escape. Seeing it another time has confirmed something he suspected. Gabu then explains to us that in his old world, he was born with the extremely rare ESP ability called absorption. This allowed him to eat pretty much anything, and he would have a chance of gaining the traits of whatever he ate. Luckily, it looks like he still has this ability, but sadly, it seems like any other abilities he had in his past life have been reset. As Gabu amazes Gabkichi by hunting a rabbit, Gabu thinks about how he's actually extremely lucky that out of all his abilities, absorption was the one he kept. This is because in this world, there are a ton of monsters lurking around with incredible powers. On day 6, some girl goblin named Gomi is amazed to hear that our boys have been eating horned rabbits. Gabu didn't think it was a big deal, but Gomi points out that someone just lost their life after being gored by one of those rabbits. She knows that Gabu is the one in charge, and she admires him for being smart, cool, and strong. Gabkichi wonders what she thinks about him, but she just thinks he is ordinary. Gabu offers to let her come on their next hunt, and she agrees. The next day, though, it ends up raining, so they postpone the hunt. Gabu decides to check the group storage to see if he can make a new weapon. He returns with materials to make a weapon, but he cannot forget what else he saw in the storage. Gabu found a group of captive human women. The reason why is pretty obvious, but Gabu would rather not think about it. The elder that watches him is named Gabi, and he is the man responsible for giving Gabaro his very low-effort name. The man is impressed with Gabaro and explains that he might level up faster than the others. Gabu doesn't understand what he means by levels, so the old geezer tells him to tap his head. Gabu does, and the voice reveals that Gabu is currently level 86. Gabi explains that once he reaches level 100, Gabriel will be able to evolve into a more advanced life form. Gabi doubts that he will be able to, though, since it's pretty rare. It turns out that goblins age very quickly, so this old geezer is just 20 years old. Gabi explains that the others will be returning soon, so Gabriel will get to see what an evolved hobgoblin looks like. The old goblin lets out a maniacal laugh as he wonders what kind of prey they will be bringing back this time. On day 8, the guys go hunting, and Gomi joins them. Gabi is in charge of backup, while Gabu fights at middle range and Gabkichi is their forward. Their 3-goblin formation works like a charm, and they're able to hunt larger monsters. The food is delicious, so Gabby tears up as she has only been eating nothing but fruit. When Gabu eats, he gains several traits from the snake, including venom resistance and something called evil eye. This is way more than he got from the other animals, so it's clear that this snake was on a whole other level. The others have no clue what he is talking about, and Gabkichi wants to eat the head of the snake too. Unfortunately, he can't, since it's poisonous and the others would die if they ate it. Gabu is getting used to things now, so he explains that it doesn't matter how ugly he is determined to survive in this world in his second life. Days 9 and 10 were more of the same, hunting, but on day 11, they made the mistake of trying to go into a cave. Their teamwork shines once again, though, as Gabu has Gabkichi protect them with the shield so he can use Evil Eye on the attacking bats. This stuns them so they can win the fight. They feast on the bats, and this gives Gabu echolocation along with a couple of other bat traits. They feast as always, but we see that some other goblins starve as they watch them. That night, some of the other goblins surround Gabu as he sleeps, but the clever goblin always has his search ability active. This allows him to sense that the others are trying to attack him, so Gab, you beats up all 6 of them. One of them is hurt more than the others, so Gabu realizes that he might not have adjusted his venom correctly since he was in a rush. He plans to teach the rest of them a lesson, but Gabby is even more upset. She starts choking one of them out, so Gabu tries to calm her down. On day 13, our group takes on a much bigger monster. Gabkichi gets knocked back, so the clever Gabu disarms the orc. Gabu breaks its leg and tells the others that he will take it from there, so they watch as Gabu slaughters it. Feasting on the orc grants Gabu the ability to use orc language, libido, and something called Detect Analyze. Gabu is still thinking about when the others attacked him, so after his friends have had their fill of food, Gabu decides to bring the rest back so everyone else can eat too. The others are skeptical at first, but Gabu assures them that it's okay. They all thank Gabaro and begin eating good food for the first time. Gabaro stands over them as they eat, and he thinks about how he never would have even considered helping out the helpless in his old world. It's obvious that his appearance changed since coming to this new world, but Gabu wonders if something else has changed about him as well. As Gabu sleeps, he has another vision. It mentions something about how his level values have been exceeded, and he has met all the special conditions. We see that it says something about evolving, but Gabu is too tired to read any of it, so he just swipes yes and goes back to sleep. One last message reads that Gabu has received the blessing of the grand god of demise and origin. The next morning, Gabriel finds that he looks a lot more like he did in his old life. A look over at Gabkichi reveals that he has evolved as well. Gomi is in awe of her friends as she points out that they're a lot bigger and a lot cooler now. Gabby is stunned that they both ranked up already since it hasn't even been a month since they were born. Gabkichi wants to test out his new strength, so Gabu assumes that he wants to go hunting. Surprisingly though, Gabkichi wants to test it by fighting Gaba, and Gabu actually really likes the idea. The two beefed up hobgoblins fight outside and show that they are much better fighters now. Gabkichi is a bit too slow, though, so Gabu ends up winning the fight easily. Gabkichi is amazed by how strong Gabu is, but Gabu explains that Gabkichi has him beat when it comes to pure power. Just then, Gabu senses that trouble is approaching, and he surprises Gomi when he knows that she is hiding nearby. He reminds her about the crossbow they made the day before, and he instructs her to go get it. We then see what the danger is as a pack of wolves viciously hunt down some rabbits, and Nork runs off as it's terrified of them, but it's no use as the wolves easily destroy it as well. Gabu determines that they are the perfect target to test their evolved strength, so he has Gabby start off by shooting one of them with an arrow. Gabu and Gabkichi then jump in to start smacking the wolves around. Gabaro reveals that he used his venom on Gomi's arrows, and it has allowed them to easily impair the leader of the wolves. Without their leader, the wolves were uncoordinated. Their teamwork was lacking, so Gabu and his group were able to make quick work of them. One last wolf remains, but it eventually dies as well. Gabu determines that it's the leader, so he eats it, and it gives him some military leadership abilities. Gabriel gives more food to the others, but informs them that they will have to start catching the same amount of prey that they are provided. They fear that they won't be able to do it, so they beg Gabu to teach them how to hunt. Gabu agrees to show them, and they're all even more grateful when he says that he will teach them how to make weapons as well. Gaba says that it's not a big deal as they are all comrades, and they all begin to cheer his name. Gabaro isn't sure why, but in this moment, he feels like he can see the path that he will be taking in this new world. He will eat nonstop to become stronger. He will then lead his comrades to achieve his real goal. That puts a smile on his face. For days later, Gobble laments how his comrades still have a lot to learn. They train hard, and Gabu is shocked when he accidentally walks in. However, this video ends here. Thanks for watching this part. If this video gets 200 likes, I'll know you guys want me to continue this series and soon upload the next part. The link to the video will be in the description and pinned down in a comment in the comments section. See you later.